Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Patty and this is my Handmade Lifestyle. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make these incredible Southern style drop biscuits. Super easy. It only takes a couple of ingredients. You will need a couple of specialty kitchen items to make them work, but so worthwhile because these are so good. I am having mine with honey, and there's some butter inside, and oh my gosh, they're so good. They're crispy on the outside and tender and melt in your mouth on the inside, and I'm going to show you how to make them yourself. If you're new to the channel, I'd like to say welcome. It's wonderful to have you here, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for dropping in for a visit. I do appreciate it. So before you leave today, make sure you like the video, and if you are a new person, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot, and I certainly appreciate it. And you know, it's YouTube. We have to we have to ask. Without further delay, let's jump into today's video and see how to make these amazing Southern biscuits. So the way that I make my biscuits, you are going to need some special equipment, and that's just the way it is. So I use this pastry cutter, and this is a dough hook for my KitchenAid. And if you don't know, I have a new KitchenAid that I'm totally in love with, and this is the dough hook that came with the machine. So yeah, I don't knead and roll and all that stuff. The way I make them is I will cut in the butter to the flour using this, and then I'm going to mix everything using the dough hook, and I'll show you exactly what I do. The first thing I'm going to show you is how I use my kitchen scale to measure my ingredients, because I only do this recipe in grams, and I don't want you to freak out. It's not hard, so just hold on, I'm gonna walk you through. Here's the little food scale that I use. I just bought this in Lidl. It was like $10. You can get them anywhere. They're not expensive. And oh gosh, your baking improves so much. So please don't be afraid of these. Let me show you what happens. So I turn it on, and it's getting itself set up. Okay, so you can see that it's 0, and just that little touch sets it off. But anyway, it's on milliliters, so it'll give you milliliters, and then we're going to hit this little unit button. There's your ounces, pounds and ounces, fluid ounces, grams. That's what we want. I just can't express to you enough that switching over to weighing grams when you're baking is, oh gosh, it's life-changing. Okay, so here's how we're gonna do it. I'm going to take my KitchenAid bowl, and it's huge, right? And I'm gonna put it on there. And oh, it weighs a ton. So, I mean, are we gonna have to do math and remember stuff? No, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit this little tara button and watch. It zeroes out. So now I know I want 160 grams of flour. So all I'm going to do is spoon it in. And we're just going to spoon flour. I'm making a mess. I'm literally holding the phone with a hand and doing this. So anyway, okay, 101. We want 160. Oh, we're over by 2 grams. No problem. You just come in, you dip out a little bit, and then I'm just gonna tap it until I get where I want it. And yes, it is being anal because you have to be in baking. That's just how it is. Okay, there's my 100 and 159. Oh, 160. Okay, we're gonna go with what it is, 160. when you're cutting in, you want to use like really cold butter. That's the whole point of it. Okay, and I have all these little scraps I want to kind of use up, and they've been in the refrigerator. I just literally took it out of the fridge. We're gonna do this little tare button again, and it goes to 0. And then all we gotta do is drop in our butter. It's amazing. This is really hard with one hand, I'm just gonna say. All right, what I'm gonna do first is I'm just gonna get the butter measured so you can see that. I might have to like make a little change here. Let's see, where are we? 48. Yeah, so I'm going to just trim a little bit off of here and get this up to 60. So I'll switch the camera so you can see what I'm doing. And I bake everything with unsalted butter. You want to just add your own salt. And if I'd been paying closer attention, what I really would have done is, oop, that's a little bit too much. 68. We only need 60 grams. 62. This is why using the scale is so helpful, because it's that exact, like just that little bit of butter puts you over what you're supposed to have in this recipe. I don't know. When I switched to cooking in grams, I just felt like it was life-changing, honestly. Now what I should have done was to put the baking powder in first, but I didn't. So I'm gonna just drop it in there now. Okay, and that's all we need. We have everything measured out. And so with this measuring spoons, just get nice high quality measuring spoons. I know the ones in the store are cute. You don't want cute when you're baking. You want tools that work. So these are from King Arthur Flour, and I know that they're calibrated and correct, so that's what I use. They're not fancy, but you know what? They work. Okay, let me put away this butter and then we'll do the cutting in. I'll show you how that works. For the longest time, I was so afraid of this cutting in. I thought, oh, I can't do it. I'm afraid of it. It's not hard, honestly. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. So, you know, you have this little, you do have to buy the pastry cutter, and I do recommend that you go ahead and get the one that's more expensive and has the nicer, bigger handle. It will save your hand. And what you're doing is you're just mashing into the butter and the flour with these little tines, and you're just doing that. That's it. But you do it for a while. You have to keep doing it until the butter is well combined with your flour. So, you know, it's gonna get stuck. You're gonna remove it from up here. Drop it back down. And then you're just gonna do some more. And this is what cutting in looks like. You have to do it by hand. There's no, well, I guess you could do it in the food processor, but I don't know. I just think that doing this part by hand is it's a gentler process than using the food processor, and the tenderness of your baked goods always depends on how you handle your flour. And if you're harsh on the flour, you're just not going to have tender baked goods. That's just the way that works. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of salt. Just a, teaspoon. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not going to worry about measuring that. Okay, and then we're just going to pick it up, and you're going to make sure that all of your little butter pieces are small enough that they'll just kind of go through the tines when you shake off the flour. It's just like when we do any other of our cooking. It's all about the uniformity of the pieces, because when we have uniform sized bits and pieces, when we're cooking, everything cooks more evenly, and that's your goal. Okay, I'll tell you, it's kind of a workout. Okay, this is looking good. Okay, let me show you how this looks. Okay, this is what it looks like. So, you know, it's not like this super impressive thing, and they talk about it being like peas or something. I don't really know what that means. You just are trying to get that butter so that it's cut down into small pieces and it's combined well with your dry ingredients. And I'm just using an all-purpose flour. So yeah, that's what we're going to go with. And okay, we're going to go ahead and put it onto the mixer and add the buttermilk and honey. I've got the flour and butter and baking powder all cut in, and it's on the mixer. I've got it fitted with the dough hook, and now we're going to add the wet ingredients. And it's 120 mils of buttermilk, cold buttermilk, and I'm going to put in a couple of tablespoons of honey. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a little well on the bottom. Put the top down here. Lock it in. And put it on low. Pour it slowly down the side. Let the dough hook do its job. Let's go ahead and add our honey. And then I let the dough hook just do the work. I might scrape it down just to give it a hand, but I don't knead and roll out biscuits ever. I do them this way, and then I'll do them as drop biscuits. I'll use my handy ice cream scoop, which is one of my favorite things ever. All right, I'm going to give this just a little nudge. And then we'll just let that work until everything's combined. I can't express to you how important it is to scrape down the sides of your bowl. I was like super nonchalant about that for years and years, and I watched a cooking class through my Blueprint, and she was just like adamant about the importance of scraping down the bowl, and I get it now. Okay, so you can see this is really coming together. So we're done. We're going to turn off the mixer and scoop our biscuits. For this recipe, I use my really big scoop. I don't know what it is. I think it's 3 tablespoons. It should say. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I got it at Pampered Chef. I have no idea what it is. Yeah, so you're just going to scoop. make sure that you fill your scoop. And then I'm just going to put it on the baking sheet. And I lined a flat sheet with parchment paper. And they don't spread a lot, but go ahead and give them some room. It's a really sticky dough. I know my friends in the UK, they refer to like a hard baked cookie as a biscuit, but in the United States we make biscuits like this as a soft, they're soft, and we just use them as like part of the meal, and they're served generally at breakfast or with dinner. That one might have a little bit much on it. Let's see if we can redistribute it. If I was really going to be picky, I would have measured each one, but I'm not going to get quite that picky with these. I think that one looks a little bit small. Now, before they get baked, they're going to get brushed with buttermilk. And I would like to add that I am making this recipe specifically for my Great British Bake Off Facebook group that I'm in. If you are a Bake Off nerd or fanatic, you might like to join us. It's a nice group. So she has a monthly challenge for us this month, and the challenge was to bake something that was like part of our culture or heritage or region or something like that. And since I'm in the United States and my background is French and Irish and Dutch, as a matter of fact, I'm third generation Dutch. It's kind of hard to put a finger on exactly what I would do for a cultural or specific heritage. America is just kind of more by region than culture, I would say. So this is a southern dish. We all eat biscuits, and I thought it would be fun to share our version of biscuits with my friends in the UK. Okay, so these are ready to go. I'm going to pop them in the oven. I have it heated to 425. Okay, we're going to bake them 15 minutes. Middle rack. It's not really bake off until somebody's on the floor looking into the oven, is it? Oh, and they're looking so good. Ooh, less than a minute. And here's your freshly baked biscuits. This, don't worry about that. That's just where some of the buttermilk dripped off and scorched in the oven. No big deal. That comes right off. Yeah, so they're not fancy looking. They're not like super proper or anything like that. They're just good old-fashioned southern drop biscuits, and I love them. I'm going to give them just a second here, and then we're going to have one with melted butter and honey, and I'll show you how we do them here in the States. I had to take a couple of photos of this before digging in, and it looks amazing. So you can see, like, I just kind of like peeled the top back and put butter and then drizzled honey on top. Let's see how it is. It's so good. It's crispy on the outside and really soft inside. And the honey is amazing. So I would say usually you would, just use your hands to eat with this, to eat biscuits, but I'm trying to be somewhat polite on on YouTube. So the bottom is nice and browned. They're delicious. This is a really super easy thing you can make, especially if you have that mixer. I just love that mixer. If you can get your hands on one, just do it. It's so worthwhile. As with the dough hook, oh my gosh, it's just, it's easy. You're just putting stuff in a bowl. I love these so much. I'm gonna stop and we'll finish up the video. So they're different from scones. I think the inside is more tender than a scone, but it's definitely more scone-like than it is biscuit-like in terms of English cooking. It's delicious. And brushing with the buttermilk on top, that's what gives you this gorgeous browning. It's amazing. So don't skip the buttermilk. It's really important. And this recipe, I used to have a biscuit recipe that I loved that used sour cream, but it got thrown away on accident. So I'm still looking for something that approximates that recipe, but for now I really like this, and I hope that you'll try making them yourself, and that's what I have for you. And I do appreciate you watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.